Hey everybody, and welcome along to this week's edition of the Irish Golfer Podcast. Peter Finnan here, and joined by Ronan McNamara.
Not John, new era
John.
Starts today.
The shutters are down, out with the old, in with the new. How are you keeping, alright?
I'm good. It was a busy week, plenty on.
It's too much on, nearly too much, between the GA and the golf and everything going on.
There was a match on yesterday, was there?
You didn't get to watch it then, did you?
Oh, I watched it, unfortunately.
No, it was good. It was a decent match. Yeah, I got to bring my young lad to his first All-Ireland final, so it was a bit of crack.
You'll end up supporting Dublin now if you're not too careful.
No, well, yeah, he was hinting at a few things coming out, alright. No, we can't get into that. He'll be at Conleth's now soon enough. It'll be grand. Back in Newbridge or nowhere. Right, where do we start on this? We have to start like the south, I suppose. We had a lot of golf on, a lot of tournaments. You were on site at the Irish Challenge. We'd people here, there and everywhere. We even had our own event on Friday as well. So yeah, the south of Ireland, down to Lahinch. What a tournament this turned out to be. Yeah,
and I think the weather made it even more dramatic, being honest. Like, it was some final. Obviously, commiserations to Peter O'Keefe. Losing two finals is hard to take, but take nothing away from Colm Campbell. Like, 2 down with 3 to play, comes back to win on 18, and that kind of summed up his week. Really, a lot of his matches went to at least the 17th, bar one. Like, I think he won one on the 20th hole. A lot of one-up wins. So, fair play to him, and it's great as a player who's not a full-time amateur anymore. In the last year or so, he's won the Irish Amateur, and now the South's gone north. But to win 2 of Ireland's biggest titles, given where he is in his life and with his game, it's just brilliant. Like, there's life in the old dog yet, as we were saying to him earlier on, and people will hear the interview coming up. But no, really good, and it obviously stirs the pot in terms of any Irish selections coming up later on this year and next year as well. So fair play to him. Yeah, no, it's great. No, we might as well just jump straight into that. So we jumped on a call with Collie earlier on today before we recorded this. He was actually in better form than I thought he'd be. I thought he'd be dying now. I've done a few interviews with him after his past Irish Hams, and he's been hanging. But he was in good form, and actually back to work today as well, which is mad, like, when you think of it. Up till whatever, at 6 o'clock last night, and then back out at it, ping, cracking the whip, keeping him going. But here's the interview we had with him earlier on. Right, so we're delighted to be joined on the line by Ireland's anchorman is back. Colm Campbell, South of Ireland champion. How are you keeping?
I'm doing great, yeah, thanks for having me on this morning.
Unbelievable achievement, Colm. You must be over the moon.
Yeah, buzzing. As I was saying, like, this is one I've been trying to get my hands on for a while now. I've won a few Irish amateurs in the East, and match play has been one I've been trying to knock onto the CV, but to win the South, that's an even sweeter one, to be fair.
And how were the celebrations last night? Did they go on to the wee hours?
It was late enough now. Didn't quite hit the heights as what the East of Ireland did back in the day in 2014. I'd probably still be sitting in the pub at this stage, but unfortunately things have changed. Can't do them things anymore.
You have a wee one trying to jump all over you this morning. Yeah. Where's Daddy's trophy?
Exactly, yeah. You don't get much peace these days.
You're always a dangerous man, Collie, when the putts drop, and they seem to drop this week. And I don't know, it was very seeing the highlights of this. I wasn't on site in Lahinch, but I was watching a bit of Harrington yesterday. Very similar weather conditions you both had to put up with, and experience seemed to, you've yourself and Pedro going at it in the South final, and you have Alex Cheika and Harrington going at it in absolutely abysmal conditions, both sides of the Irish Sea. Like, experience really counted for a lot for you yesterday.
Yeah, and look, you couldn't have got probably 2 more experienced men in the field than myself and Peter in the final, and to be honest, it was just a matter of who could sort of hang on the best. And Peter was he was in control of the match the whole way through it. And I was saying yesterday, I never hung on in a match as much in all my life. But the whole week, that was kind of the story was I was sort of behind it at pretty much all my games going into the last 7-8 holes, and Yeah, it's just a matter of staying in, using my experience as much as possible, and trying to take chances when they came at me.
2 up with 3 to play though. With Peter was 2 up with 3 to play on you in that.
Yeah.
How like against someone that you know is that much of a quality player, and in those weather conditions that you're putting up with as well. How hard is it to still believe, even though you've come from behind, it's a final, you know this guy's a closer. Is it hard to stay in the moment and actually, I'm still in this, I'm still going, just keep fighting, keep fighting?
Yeah, look, it was a real push to just tell myself, look, we still have a chance. There's still holes here. Those 16, 17, 18 were just nasty. You know, they were so tough. And probably in any other sort of God-given day, I probably would have said my chances were done. You know, 2 down with 3 to play against Peter. But in those conditions, I just had a slight glimmer of hope, and then he fired a little bone at me in 16. He caught a horrendous lie and managed to win 16. And then I just said to Daniel, who was carrying for me, look, I need to get a good tee shot away here, find the fairway and get it in play and put the pressure back on him. And yeah, certainly I done that. I had a great tee shot down 17. That was probably the best shot I hit in the afternoon, hitting that fairway down 17, because the wind was pumping straight out of the right. And it just put the pressure on him then.
And going up 18 then, what was that like, knowing again, I have a chance here, I'm after clawing 2 back, like it's a roll of the dice now.
Yeah. Like, the beauty about somebody playing with Peter is you're hitting first most of the time. So I had the advantage of hitting first all day pretty much. And we both hit good tee shots. And I was sort of caught in between going with 3 wood to try and go for the green, and then we just decided it was, in the wind and the wet, it would have been a mental error if I had it on that. So I just poked a little 2-iron down to a nice number, and again, just ball was in playing. It was just putting a wee bit more pressure on Peter, I would say, and that was probably maybe in the back of his mind. I don't know. Look, it was just so tough to hit golf shots. The shot he hit on 18 probably looked 10 times, 20 times worse than what it actually was, with that wind. And yeah, that's the way it goes, I suppose.
And what were the feelings on the 18th green? Was it more relief or just to get it done, or so many things must have been going through your head on that green when you knew, you had 2 putts to win from where you were, you're 25 foot away. What's going through your head at that stage?
Honestly, I was in complete shock. I just couldn't believe what had sort of unfolded in those 3 holes. Peter was just so much in control of the game the whole way around, but to be fair, I hung in and I hit good golf shots coming down the line and when it was required, and even the 3rd shot I had into 18 was tricky. The pin was back left, wind was coming out of the right, and it was a smelly enough shot, but once I got it down on the sort of 20 feet or so, it was a nice putt to leave myself, and I was a very happy man once I knocked that putt stone dead.
Yeah, Colm, congratulations on your win. Just on your career, you're not a full-time amateur anymore, so does that kind of make these wins extra special? Like you have the South and you won the Irish Am last year as well.
Yeah, look, it just shows that despite maybe not, obviously we're still playing as much as we can, and I've obviously played a good few events this year and travelled across to the St Andrews Links Trophy. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of satisfaction whenever you can get it across the line, and you're playing. I'm sure we'll all agree that the level that Irish amateur golf is at the minute is phenomenal, and so many, pretty much anybody in the field has almost a chance of winning, you would say. So when you're able to close it out and you're beating a quality player and Peter, and to get over the line, it was a huge satisfaction moment for me. So it was.
And a lot of your matches went to at least the 17th hole, and one of them went down to the 20th. So there's fine margins. You can easily get knocked out in one of those, and we wouldn't be having the conversation now. So you really hung in pretty much the whole week.
Yeah, exactly. And as I was saying there just a wee moment ago, it was experience and hanging in. The whole way through it was key to getting over the line on Sunday. Like even my match against Darcy Hogg in the first round, I was 2 down through 10 holes, and just he never looked like budging. He was playing lovely golf, and I managed to flip it on its head, and it was even the story against Rob and Mark and even Ryan Griffin. He was clutch coming down sort of 16, 17 and 18 as well, and yeah, it just never looked great from the word go, with the exceptions of my match against Paul in the semi-final.
That's it. Rob was 5 up through 9, was he?
No. Rob was. Can't even remember what our match was. Was I maybe 1 up? Maybe.
Well, yeah. Sorry, got that one wrong.
Yeah.
No, like going into this year as well. I suppose you were very gracious as well in the quotes that you give after and the chat that you have after. Obviously, you're very gracious in how you've won it, and looking at, I suppose, Peter O'Keefe as well. That's 2 finals in a row in the South, like that he's losing. You were very, very nice with your words there. It's a mark of how you are as a champion as well.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, I've got, I know Peter very well, and if the shoe was on the other foot, I'm sure he would have done the same. It's never nice to see somebody lose in that manner, and in which it sort of happened. And I did feel for him now, to be honest, and obviously it was his second finally lost in a row. And yeah, look, it was tough. It was hard to watch. No point in saying otherwise. And I do feel for the big man. But look, he'll bounce back, and I've no doubt he'll give it another rattle next year, and he'll not be far away.
Yeah, 100%. No, like the start of this year, we're not going to get into the politics of this, that, and the other. But the start of this year, you were obviously, you were a notable omission from this year's high performance panel. Did that really give you a chip in the shoulder to try and go out in one of these championships, and you have a bit more about you to try and prove I should be part of this, and I really believe that I should be part of this setup?
Yeah, definitely. Look, I'm not going to lie. I was bitterly disappointed to be left out of the panel for this year. There was probably a point at the start of the year where I was contemplating not even going to play any championships, because I just felt, well, what more do I need to do? I won the Irish Amateur last year, and then obviously is excluded from the panel for the coming year, and I was like, well, what chances do I have, really? But then, look, we sat down and looked at it and said, right, let's prove that the golf, it wasn't a sort of one-off, it wasn't a one-hit wonder, and let's try and back it up again. And look, my form probably wasn't great up until going over to the St Andrews Trophy, where made the cut in good feel, and then obviously winning this week. So yeah, no, that was a nice moment.
You've a lot to offer, like you feel you still have a lot to offer at a national level like that. So, like in terms of your overall amateur career, like you've achieved a lot now when you look back. Like, where do you put yourself in your, like, obviously this is going to bring home internationals back into the chat again, like bits like that. I'd like to think so anyway. Where do you think you are looking forward into what lies ahead, like, and what you've achieved? Like, what hole do you think you're on? That's a very deep question. What hole do you think you're on in your amateur golf career?
Yeah, I feel I'm still as good as I've ever been. If not, I actually probably think I'm a better player than what I was maybe 5-6 years ago. Because I'm to a point, I'm freewheeling it. There's no pressure on me. When I turn up, and I play well, and as you say, get the putter going, I can beat anybody. It doesn't matter who they are. You know what I mean? And I think I proved it this week with the players that I beat. I'm not going to hold any punches. I had the hardest draw this week. You know what I mean? And I beat good players. Nobody gave it to me. I beat them. So, when push comes to shove, I know on my day I'll beat anybody. It doesn't matter who they are. And I proved it, and I've backed it up over the years. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to shy away from that. And my record speaks for itself. Last year I played the home internationals, was 4 from 4. You know what I mean? So that says it all, in my opinion. Really,
nothing to prove.
Nothing.
Yeah, Colm, you mentioned it was your first match play win. I suppose, and these are long weeks as well. Like, it's Wednesday to Sunday, 6 days, and this week it would turn out to be just brutal weather. Like, what's the difference between going from stroke play to match play? Do you have to like change your game or alter maybe your game plan or anything like that?
Yeah, stroke play is a little bit different. Stroke play, you're probably a little bit more tentative. You're not maybe just quite as aggressive. Because you're obviously protecting the score and you're trying not to, it's damage limitation, especially, in windy conditions like we got there for the first couple of days in the stroke play. And it was just really just keeping the ball in play and accepting that pars are good scores. And, if you get yourself in trouble, get the ball back and play, try and reduce it to, no more than a bogey if you can. And then you move into the match play stages, and look, you can be a wee bit more aggressive. You free up, and you can get a little bit more aggressive with putts and maybe some tee shots and stuff like that. So yeah, that's the way I look at it.
And you only need to win the West and the North now to complete the set.
The Campbell Slam.
Yeah, and obviously we still have to play the North in September as well, and yeah, that'll be a nice one. Yeah, but look, there's still a lot of golf to play to get to that stage. But again, look, it's a chance, and it's not without reach, I suppose.
Having to take it's one thing that people might be taken for granted as well, because we're covering golf a lot, and we're reporting on guys that are full-time amateurs. Don't like you to take time off work, I'm assuming, to go down and play this. Like, you're juggling holidays, you're juggling family, you have so many other commitments off the golf course. Does that in a way free your mind that when you're on the golf course, then it's like the shutters are down and you're able to block everything out because you've done your family time, you've done your work stuff, you're off, and you're a lot more focused, it seems, now than you were maybe 7-8 years ago when you were trying to go full time at it?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I'm very fortunate that I've got a very understanding wife, first and foremost, that gets the whole golf situation. And she's one of the key ingredients to me probably being where I am today. So probably have to give her a good mention, I suppose. And as you say, look, I'm working for Ping, who have been brilliant to me as well. Like last year, they were superb with me. But yeah, as you say, look, it's all annual leave, and but definitely when you get to the likes of Lahinch, there's no better place in the world when you go and you're on a few days holidays and you're getting looked after and you're in a great spot. And you're just definitely freewheeling. Like, when I was playing 6-7 years ago, golf was everything. It was just, there was nothing else to you turn to. If you had a bad week, it was, you're on to the next week, and it was just golf. Whereas now you've got other distractions, and I definitely think that helps. It does for me personally. If I have a bad week, or if I miss a cut, I still have to get up and go to work the next day or whatever. So definitely does. There is a key element in freeing you up a little bit.
And looking forward from here now, what's next on the golf calendar for you now?
What is next? The next one will be, I was actually to play a Mullingar, but I'm going to give that a miss. So I've withdrew from that. I'll probably Irish Close in Malone, actually. Sorry, that's going to be the next one.
Yeah.
So that's a nice one, because that's only
not far from home.
Hour, so yeah,
exactly.
No, that's a nice one. I'll be able to stay in my own bed for that. And again, it's a golf course we're very familiar with. So yeah, no, that should be good.
Oh, you'll have huge support at that one. Listen, don't want to take up any more of your time. You've been a lot fresher than I thought you'd be this morning. So it's always a pleasure.
I've got plenty of experience at it now, so I have.
It's always a pleasure catching up with you. Listen, the South goes north. It was an unbelievable story this week, and long may it continue. The best years are ahead, Collie.
Yeah, absolutely. There's life in the old dog, yeah.
Thanks a million. Talk to you soon, all right?
Cheers, lads. Thanks for that. Cheers.
He's always a good chat, isn't he?
Yeah, he's always in great form, to be fair to him.
But, you can tell there's still, and I agree with it, he didn't really we didn't want to get into the politics of it, of not getting picked and selected this year, but, not getting selected, it just highlights that again. I don't know, and, what way the panellists are going or what way selectors are going with picking these panels. They're obviously looking at more of a youth policy and different things and that. But I suppose Peter O'Keefe is there as well. So working full time and doing stuff. So yeah, it's just what Collie has done over the last year, especially adding this South into the mix. He justifies being on that panel as far as I'm concerned.
But like you can't do any more. Like he's won 2 of Ireland's biggest titles in the last year. Like you genuinely, if you were to ask him, like, could you do anything else? He'd say no.
Yeah.
He's done everything that he can to try and make these panels. But obviously, unfortunately, these things are out of the players' hands completely.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's the harsh reality of it sometimes.
But the stats, like when you stack up the stats, like that's the thing. You look at his, like even he remarked on himself, his home international record from last year, his home international back over the last 8 years. It's phenomenal, like so good. Like we call him Ireland's anchor man. He was always the trusted man you'd send out last match, get the job done. And like he loves the big occasions, and for him not to be involved, like I don't know what way the selection process will go for the home internationals, but like you look, there's no betting available on it obviously, but like, do you think he'll get picked? I think he should.
Well, he did get picked for the homes last year, so I'd be inclined to think that he probably would.
Yeah,
it's hard to know because, like he said it himself, the depth and the quality of Irish amateur golf, especially this year, is pretty outrageous at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's hard to know. Like I'd like to think that he would. He certainly deserves it. I mean, like he's won something again.
Something major, like.
Yeah, it was just, I suppose, like it's the age-old thing that maybe not being a full-time amateur sometimes counts against you when it comes to these things. But it does remain to be seen. Like he did make the homes last year, so I'd be inclined to think that he'd be on it again.
Yeah, fingers crossed, hopefully anyway. But like, what else do you take away from the South this year? Like, anyone that's seen the videos online, like we commented on it already, like the weather was absolutely horrific for the semi-finals and final.
Raining sideways, like people holding their umbrellas down at their hips, like it's mental weather. But I suppose when you go down to Lahinch, that's the kind of stuff you have to expect, I suppose.
In July,
unfortunately. But we won't dwell on the weather at this time. But no, fair play to Collie. Like the South, few names were missing, but certainly the quality of the golf was still right up there, and some really, really tight matches. 2 great semi-finals as well. To be fair, he made a big win against Paul Coughlin at Castleknock, which was a good scoop. And then Peter O'Keefe beating Jack Hearn. I thought Jack Hearn was going to win it.
Yeah.
And I saw him kind of go through the first few matches. So, but when you look through the scoreboard of the final, like you can see, even if you weren't there, how bad the weather must have been, because pars were your friend there.
Yeah.
And like for Colm to win with 4-4-5 is a serious finish as well, to be fair, because those are three really, really tough holes on the best of days in Lahinch as well, coming down the stretch.
Yeah, we spoke about it when we were talking to Collie as well, about the Peter O'Keefe. He'd be devastated. Like the South is probably the number one on his hit list, especially when you think proximity to the Walker Cup now and that panel being whittled down. If he won a national championship, like that was really staking a claim of selection there on that as well. So yeah, there's a lot going on. I do feel for Peter O'Keefe.
Oh yeah, absolutely. To lose a final once is hard enough, but to lose it in back-to-back years, and like this, it's obviously unlucky as well. But I think he was just pipped to the post by the better player on the day. These things have a way of evening themselves out.
Yeah.
But for Peter, he hasn't had the best of years. He'll say that himself. He's been quite poor. He goes and builds his own putter, and he's going back to a stomping ground where he loves. It just felt like maybe all the ingredients were going to align in one way for him this week, but unfortunately it just wasn't to be. But at least he's putting well again. So it's, when you can make your own clubs, you'd want to be putting well, I suppose.
I did see that he made his own putter. Yeah, that's mad. Like I seen last week he was putting out feelers for like, does anyone get me this grip? And he's one of those Callaway jailbird things I think he had in play. It looked like it anyway.
The Wyndham Clark.
The Wyndham Clark, yeah, he's on the Wyndham
They're
Clark
all their age now, those
the Ricky
putters.
Fowler train. But no, all good. Anyway, it was another good championship. It seemed like there was decent crowds down there, and just horrific.
Fair play to anyone who braved the weather to go out and watch that. Like
mental. But no, there was like speaking. I know we talked again. We remarked on it earlier on in the interview with Collie, the Senior Open as well. Like that was absolute carnage as well. I don't know, did you see any of that? I actually watched a fair bit of this. Even I had the phone on at the All Ireland yesterday, looking at bits of it, and then the train the whole way home was watching the end of it in the playoff. Did you see it?
I didn't see a bit of it, no, but I saw the duff chip from Harrington, and like, it's funny, he calls the senior majors minors, but this will be a major sting for him. Like, this will hurt.
Absolutely.
Just circumstances in there's ways to lose and there's ways to win, of course, but the way in which he lost, it will certainly sting for a wee while.
No, it was unreal. Like, the final round scoring average I seen was 78.5 final round scoring average. It was absolute carnage at this. Like, I've never seen guys going out and weather like it at a major, especially like a senior major like that. It was just insane. It was bonkers. And like, he will be so sick. Not only that, like, he left on the 16th in regulation play, he missed a short put to draw closer to Cheka, and then 18th, then he had an eagle put that he just left in the jaws on the 72nd hole. It was funny, actually. I don't know if you obviously didn't see it, but like, so he leaves this eagle put like a couple of inches short. He'll be a bit angry about that for a start. Then Cheka had a put to he was left like about a 20-footer. It was just before that, actually. So Paddy was lining up his putt. Cheka had like a 30-foot putt. Harrington had a 20-foot putt. Cheka's was for birdie, Harrington's for eagle, and Paddy was a shot back. So just as Cheka was about to pull the trigger, so Ronan Flood had the yardage book out and he was flicking through, looking at notes in the green. The thing just went in flitters everywhere, all over the green, all over Cheka's line. It was hilarious to watch. He was like scampering around the play. It was a real, it was a proper gangster move now, just to throw it up like confetti, put your man off. He too jagged, but Paddy too jagged as well, so we went to a playoff. And then first play, like, it looked as though they could have went on all day in the playoff. It was going to be a birdie fest. And it was, the commentators called it really well, actually, saying, is this going to be won by someone holding for an eagle and something mad, or someone missing for a par? And unfortunately it ended up being that way, that Harrington just got, like, it was an awkward place he landed beyond the green, and just a little cuppy lie, and it's so unlike him to duff a chip. He will be absolutely fuming. Did you see the shot?
No, but like the 18th, relatively speaking, I know the course was brutal, but in relative terms, the 18th is a doddle of a hole as well. Like,
yeah, like, they're hitting driver 6 irons,
yeah,
and driver, I think Paddy hit driver 8 iron in regulation. Like, he absolutely, 72nd hole, he pumped a drive down and was only flicking 8 iron in. I think they were hitting 6s and 7s and stuff like that into a par 5. He missed very similar to what he missed in the first playoff hole. Just went an extra 3 or 4 yards into a little bit of rough. It wasn't even heavy rough. It was just this little cuppy lie that he got. And it was, the commentators even called it was the type of shot that you'd probably dink with a hybrid. Like, put it with a hybrid, but he only had 5-wood 4 iron in his bag, so he didn't have that option, and he went the high tariff route, and duffed it. I've never seen him do that under pressure.
No, you wouldn't expect him to. You'd usually expect him to be rock solid around the greens. Like, that's where he made his career, really. Like, you think of that up and down in the 07 Open at Carnoustie. But it was a mad looking at his scorecard. He had 5 double bogeys and 3 eagles on the week. Like, it was just mental scoring. Yeah,
and 2 of those eagles were on the last. Like, we were saying, it was playing a bit of a doddle, but he was definitely capitalising. But like, it was mad seeing him. Like, he was in full wet gear. He probably had layers and layers on. Alex Cheka was going around like a Polish block layer, like he had a little beanie on him and a t-shirt, like, and he was putting the gear on and off in between hitting shots. Like, it was mad looking. Like, it was just, the weather wasn't getting him. He just doesn't like playing. In that sort of wind, obviously. Who does? But no, it was fairly mental. We had quite a few runners and riders in this. Like, in fairness to Cheka, like, he put up a good fight. I think that's his 3rd senior win in this. Like, he's kicking on. Like,
yeah, like he was a solid tour pro as well in his tour career. So, like, fair play to him. The field was actually quite good. Like, Vijay Singh was 3rd. Philip Price was 5th. Jerry Kelly, Bernard Langer was 7th again. Like, and he shot a 77 in the final round, which was one of the better scores on the day. But you're right, we had a good few Irish runners, and Darren Clark obviously was the defending champion. He came tied 33rd, and Damien Mooney from Lough Erne, he made the cut, and that was a pretty good result for him.
Yeah, it was good.
Having come through the Monday qualifier as
Came
well.
through the Monday qualifier. He actually played with Clark in the third round. I seen did some snaps up behind the scenes and stuff like that. So that a big week for him. Like, he finished tied 57th. We had guys that missed the cut then. So Eddie McCormack and Joe Lyons, 2 amateurs, and then Eamon O'Connor as well that got in. So it's like great to see the lads actually teeing it up and getting across there. It looks as though from all the videos the boys were putting up online, Eddie McCormack getting like lessons from Jose Maria Lataval out of bunkers and stuff like that. The boys were having great crack.
Yeah, like that's what it's about as well. Like for them, it's the experience as well. Like, because you never know when it'll happen again, if it will happen again. So no, shame they didn't make the cut, but still good to see them out there.
Super experience. They stuck around for the weekend because they seen Eddie Eddie got the old selfie with Alex Jake after the final round, so he's keeping in, having a bit of crack with it. But yeah, it's one of those tournaments. Like, it's a really good tournament, great venue, horrific weather. But I still feel we're being shortchanged at it a little bit. With that should have been Lee Westwood's first senior major. We're not seeing Mickelson and stuff like that. Like, for the RNA to sort of ban the live players from coming across, it's still a bit petty when it's a major like that, So. Yeah, like
Steve Stricker wasn't there either, which took away from it a wee bit as well.
Yeah.
Although knowing Steve Stricker, he probably would have won, so nice to have a change.
The man that has Paddy's number.
Yeah, well, that's 2 playoffs now Harrington's lost, so that kind of stuff will hurt him 100%.
What do you think it'll be Ryder Cup wise? Do you think that'll hurt his not losing that? I don't think winning or losing that. It's just the way it happened. You'd question just in the heat of the moment to produce a shot like that. Unfortunately, that's what people are going to remember.
Well, like you watched it, I didn't see it. So, like, on the face of it, just looking at the result, I would have said winning or losing didn't make the slightest bit of difference. But circumstances and the way he lost it might do. There might be a bit of scar tissue that comes back in the next few weeks if he does get in a situation like that again on the DP World Tour. But like, it's hard to know, because I think his real audition was the Open Championship just gone, and he admitted himself he didn't really do much. So I don't think it makes that much of a difference to his Ryder Cup chances, slim as they are anyway. But no, I think getting back on the DP World Tour and putting in a few strong performances will tell the tale for Paddy, I think. Yeah,
all right, we'll move on from that onto where you spent your last week on holidays in Headfort.
Yeah, who wants to go to Kells on their holidays?
Who wants to go to Kells? You do in the Royal County. You're close to home. So the Irish Challenge at Headfort, it kind of got rained on. It got a bit danced on yesterday, but all in all, the week seemed an unbelievable week.
Yeah, it was good, particularly the first 2 days. Conor Purcell, Alex Fitz, and John Goff were the sort of marquee group, and they brought down a good crowd with them. In fairness, like, they had to get one of the marshals to come in and do the crowd patrolling thing, tell people where to stand, and the whole hand up, quiet please crack. But that was good, and the weekend was a bit of a shame. To say the weather dampened things would be a bit of an understatement. Like, Saturday was just brutally tough. The wind was just nuts, and then Sunday, just everybody got kind of coming in like drowned rats into the clubhouse. Lots of people just wanted to head off home at that stage. But yeah, the winner, Brandon Robinson Thompson, made the cut at the Open. Now he's gone and won, so that's pretty good. Like, he's moved up to 35th now in the road to Mallorca, so you never know. At the end of the year, he could have a DP World Tour card.
Yeah, no,
like, you can get yourself in a run for a couple of weeks. Like, he moved up 214 places in the order of merit there. And we've Johnny Caldwell heading to the Irish Open for his 4th Irish Open event, because he was the top Irishman, in 9th place on 6 under par. This was mad. At one stage, I think Conor O'Rourke of the K Club looked like he was going to get it. He got 3 under, and he was putting on a bit of a final round charge. I think then it was a 3-way tie on 3 under par. Then Conor unfortunately bogeyed the 9th, his last hole. He probably needed to birdie and a bit of a prayer. And then Purcell and Caldwell were going head to head. They were both one. Purcell was in the group ahead of Caldwell, so I was tracking their scores. And unfortunately for Conor, he just couldn't find another couple of late birdies. And in fairness to Caldwell, he birdied 3 of his last 6 holes to get in there. 3 birdies in 4 holes, 13, 14, and 16 to take the spot. And like, in fairness, like, it's a good reward, the Christy O'Connor Trophy, for an Irish player to get to go and play in your home Open. It's unfortunate for the likes of Conor O'Rourke and Conor Purcell that couldn't have gone to somebody maybe younger who can maybe progress on. But for Caldwell, it rounds off a pretty tidy couple of weeks for him form-wise. He's starting to pick up again, which is good to see.
Yeah, exactly. I have to admit, with this tournament, right, so I went down and played the Pro-Am, played with Johnny Yates.
And you didn't show your face for the rest of it.
Yeah, no, well, I was away at other things. But no, it was really good. I really enjoyed playing with Johnny. It's good. But this tournament, I like the leader. It's such a clever thing, I think, the Christy O'Connor Trophy, that were all the Irish guys against each other, because like we kind of back our own anyway over here. Crowds come and follow our own, and there wouldn't have been too many people following the last group, but there was people following Purcell, there was people following Caldwell and Conor O'Rourke, and even Mark Power took a bit of a crowd out with him as well.
Yeah, he did.
So, yeah, like I just think it's a great initiative. All I was following on my, like obviously on the European Tour app, and you've starred all the Irish players. That was the only leaderboard I was looking at. I had no idea who was winning or thereabouts in the main event. It was just literally top Irish player to get that Irish Open trophy spot. So it was really, really good initiative. Obviously Johnny Caldwell this year, with Tom McKibben winning it last year. So
yeah, McElroy won one as well, didn't he? So
yeah.
It's a good trophy for the Northern Irishmen anyway.
Boys gone up north the whole time. They've the South gone up north as well now as well. They're taking everything.
They're taking the South and they're taking Christie.
But yeah, no, Conor Purcell would be very disappointed in all of that. Like, I have to say, Headfort, when I was there anyway, the course was playing class. It was playing really well. There was a bit of criticism about a few holes on it, like the second hole going to a par 4 from a par 5 and bits like that. But it seemed to play really well for the week.
Yeah, and Purcell will be disappointed. Like, he was overnight co-leader at the halfway stage, and in fairness, like, he really did light up the tournament the first 2 days, finishing with 5 birdies in a row in round 1. And then he started again with a birdie on his first hole in round 2, and birdie 3 was first 4 holes. And at that stage, it looked like he was going to go on and maybe go 3 or 4 or 5 clear. And then on the Saturday, it just didn't happen for him at all. He had a bad start, and he kind of got it back on the back 9, and then a bad start on Sunday, and he just, never really got going after that. It's hard to, I suppose, when you're thinking of winning, to maybe try and just focus on getting the Irish Open spot. Because I say his attention would have definitely turned towards winning. But no, the course was good. I agree with you. I don't know why the second hole was turned into a par 4. It's a tough enough par 5 at the best of times. But no, it was a good week, and the course held up well given the weather. Like, I feel the course is kind of out for a bit of redemption after being washed out of it in 2019. So at least they got the 4 rounds in this time round.
Yeah, exactly. No, it was good. Like, it bodes well. Even looking back, like, Mark Power played here instead of playing in the South as well. Like, he was going well. You said you caught up with him on Saturday. He bit of like,
yeah, he just come out of the physio room. His back was kind of going into a spasm or something, he was telling me. So maybe that had something to do with his final round. He'd be disappointed with that, because
final round 78. Well. He was going really well.
He was top 20 after 54 holes. That could have turned into a top 10, and maybe he could have come out with the top Irish. It wouldn't have been outside of his reach. But no, good week, good experience for him. It's the second time he's made the cut in a professional event. I think he made the cut in the Irish Open in 2020 or 2021 in Gallagher. Yeah. So no, it's good. Like, he's well able to play at that level.
Yeah. No, all good. A few guys that missed the cut then with Stuart Grehan, Niall Kearney, Dermot McElroy, John Murphy, Rory McGee, Cormac Sharvin, Paul Dunn, Paul Murphy and Liam Nolan.
A few real hard luck stories in some of the lads who missed the cut there, but I won't go into it.
Yeah,
in case they're listening.
Go on. What?
Just like Dermot McElroy was in contention after round 1. To miss the cut is very disappointing for him. Grehan will be sick. He was in a good position halfway through his second round, so I think he bogeyed the last end to miss the cut by 1. And John Murphy, in fairness, like, John Murphy was flying there. I think he birdied four birdies in 5 holes in his second round, playing the golf that we all know he can play and he's capable of. And again, he was bringing a good crowd with him. Like Johnner, who unfortunately has left us now, he's gone to the other side, but he watched a good bit of John. He said the golf he playing was, unbelievable. And unfortunately, he gets to 17 and finishes double bogey, which was hard to take. Like, I saw John in the clubhouse after. He was pretty cut up about it, and he only played this week because it was at home.
Yeah,
you might get in and refresh yourself, but he's going to play the ISPS as well. Like, he's still on his break, but he's going to play the events.
Events.
Yeah, but to see him miss the cut was was tough to watch.
It's tough, and Cormac Sharv and Paul Dunn as well down there. Paul Dunn +6 for the 2 rounds. It's hard.
Yeah. You look at some of the guys and you think, where do you go from here? Especially Paul Dunn. Someone was saying that they followed him for a couple of holes, and you just can't keep thriving on the golf course, unfortunately, for Paul. And that's where it's all going wrong for him.
It's hard to watch. I seen him up hitting balls and getting ready, going out in the pro-am, and he looks in the prime of his physical life. It's the way he's doing all the right things. It's just not happening on the golf course, which is hard to see when you know what he's capable of.
Yeah, you'd wonder what's going on with Brandon Stone as well. He missed the cut, and he was a top TP World Tour player a couple of years ago. He won the Scottish Open, shot 60 to win that.
Now they're down in Headfort. You saying, who did you see? Who you put into our WhatsApp group at one stage? Who's your man? Was it Julian Surrey?
Julian Surrey in Super Value in Kells.
Value in Kells. That man was top 50 in the world there a while ago.
I was like, what's going on?
The man's he's in buying his pot noodle at Super Value in Kells then.
He had a great round though on the Saturday the next day, so every bought in Super Value did the trick.
Oh, stop. No, it was a good event. It was great for the home players. Get a run out like this. We've a lot of golf ahead of us now with ISBS Handle, like we're saying, Irish Open, bits like that coming up on home soil. So be great to see more of these guys getting starts in those events. So fingers crossed, a couple of them do. But fair play to everyone in Headfort. It's an event they didn't have to put on. They've taken it on and they've done a great job. And we're back to the K Club with this next year again on their sort of 2-year rotation. So interesting to see if it goes north after that or what happens. But
yeah, it'd be I know we had this age-old debate with the Irish Open, but it'd be interesting to see the Challenge go on a links course, I think.
Yeah, well, it was behind closed doors in Portmarnock Links a couple of years ago. Yeah, they did do it, and that was a good event. Again, Conor Purcell was up thereabouts at that one as well.
Yeah, it was just the criticism of links course is, I suppose, getting crowds out, but for a Challenge Tour event, you wouldn't have that. I suppose you wouldn't have that worry.
That problem, yeah.
Yeah.
No, all good. Moving on from that, we had another major then, the Evian. I didn't get to watch much of this. I did see they got a home winner, Céline Boutier, wins the Evian in France. Wasn't the best of weeks for both Leona or Steph. Leona finished tied 42nd, 70, 73, 67, 75 final round, which she'll be disappointed with.
She'll learn from it though, Pete. She'll kick on.
No, you can't be very positive about this one. And then Steph tied 61st. So again, opened with a good round, 69, then 2 76s, and then 69 at the end. So +6 for the week. Not the best of preps. They're into a very different stretch of golf now. They've the Scottish Open this week, and then the Open to AIG Women's Open in Walton Heath then the week after. So a couple of fairly major weeks, one of them being a major. So now it'll be a serious few weeks ahead. I do fancy Leona to kick on at Walton Heath. I've been picking it out all year. I think that course is perfect for her. So we'll see how she finds a bit of form in Scotland this week. And then so they're this side of the Atlantic now. So they're in France, then they're doing Scotland, then they're doing just outside London for Walton Heath, then they're in Galgorm, and so there's a lot of golf going on this side of the Atlantic now, so it's good for us time zone wise.
Yeah, and I suppose the best thing about the week just gone for them is you can put it to the back of your mind fairly quickly, given that there's another major in only a fortnight's time. I think for this it's probably a good thing that the majors are so condensed together, because when you do have a bad week, the next one's only around the corner. But it's mad to think that the women's major season's almost over, and considering there's 5 of them.
Yeah, but the men's one is done. That's how the weather outside now is it's October with no majors left. Sickening.
Yeah, there's no not much late night golf viewing coming up. Well, there's the FedEx Cup, I suppose, but no, it feels like everything's kind of just on the way down now.
On the slide. No, we need this Irish Open to come around quick enough. In the Evian as well, did you see Carlotta Saganda?
She got done for slow play, and she refused to sign her card.
So she got DQ'd because she got done for a slow play violation. Then she went in, she was told about it. She refused to accept it and signed for her score without the 2-stroke penalty, and they told her you'll be thrown out. So she literally threw the toys out of the cot after being slow. This needs to happen more in professional golf. It's good that we're seeing it a bit more. It needs to happen on the PGA Tour a lot, but the LPGA can be quite slow.
Yeah, and you mentioned it there. This wouldn't happen on the PGA Tour. I think you can use the LPGA as sort of a guinea pig for these kind of things. But no, it was good to see slow play finally being kind of stamped out, I suppose. Well, last week anyway. It was a mad one, like something you never hear of, and it's Carlotta. I think she's quite notorious for her slow play as well. So I suppose they picked a good culprit.
She just refused to take it. No, I'm signing for the score I had. That's it. You do you, and that was it. Then go home. Good luck. DQ'd. I think that that's pretty much it. Like that's it. Like there was a lot of golf on, and because you were at an event and I was at events, and John Craven was doing other things in his final few days. Mark was at we were just here, there, and everywhere. So Roundup. What do you think on Roundup? PGA Tour, 3M Open. I did not see a shot.
No one cares about this.
Like no one does care. 7-shot win for Lee Hodges.
There's nothing says nothing worse to follow up Brian Harman's win than the 3M Open. Like,
and Lee Hodges winning by 7.
Yeah, who even is it?
Martin Laird, Kevin Streelman, JT Poston finishing just behind him. So 17 or 24 under to win a golf tournament. Like 63, 64, 66, 67 is like, yeah, it's proper stuff. Like it's unreal. I can't believe they give out, like, because this field was not very strong, but like 500 FedEx points for this. So moves him from 74 to 33 in the FedEx Cup rankings. Literally the year or the week before the playoffs kick in. He moves from 110 to 54 in the world golf rankings. Like, that's a big jump in the world golf rankings for winning a 3M Open. Isn't it?
Yeah,
though?
it is. The field wasn't the strongest, but it wasn't the weakest side. Like, Tony Finau still there. The man loves the 3M Open. I think he's defending champion.
He loves the old sticky notes.
Yeah,
Tony.
Billy Horschel, who's coming to the Irish Open, of course, he was playing. It was Justin Thomas missed the cut, funnily enough, with a new putter in the bag.
Yeah,
which you just wonder, like, it's easy to be dramatic about these things, but you really do wonder, like, when's it going to turn around from? Because it's been just a dreadful year.
He's another week
JT
to turn it around. He is.
Because
the Wyndham. He's in the Wyndham.
He mightn't make the playoffs, like, which is just unthinkable.
Bonkers. And that'll be him goose for the Ryder Cup.
Oh yeah, he needs to make the playoffs to have any chance. Well, it's mad to think a major champion of just 12 months ago wouldn't be on the Ryder Cup team.
Yeah, no, it is insane. But we had some other, so LET Access and so LET Access, we had some Irish on that.
Yeah, Lauren Walsh, 8th place, 72, 69, 75. Like, this is just a really good tour for girls like her who are just starting their pro career. You dip your toe in the water, get used to being a professional, what's it like, how to conduct yourself. And she's done really well in her few starts on that tour. So long may it continue. She's got Q School coming up then for the LPGA at the end of the year. She won't be at the Women's Irish Open, unfortunately. I think that clashes with it. But no, it's an encouraging start for her.
No, it's good. It's good to see, because she could have won one of those events early on, and now she's constantly knocking in around the top of them. So that's what it's all about. And the Europeans then as well. Olivia Costello had a good week. Yeah,
she came away with a bronze medal at the European Young Masters. She came third. I don't need to explain that, but I think the Ireland team overall came 10th, which was a good showing. And then in the European Ladies Amateur Championship, Beck Coulter was 8th. Rounds of 70, 70, 69 and 76. Her final round was a mad one. She was 2 shots off the lead, making the turn in the final round with a birdie, and a triple bogey 8 on the par 5-6. And then she followed that up with a double bogey on the 10th, a double bogey on the 13th, and a double bogey on the 14th, and then finished with back-to-back birdies to get back into the top 10. But that was one that she had a real chance of winning through 54 holes and then going into the back 9. It was won by Spain's Julia Lopez Ramirez and her compatriot Carla Bernat. Scooter was second, and in world number 1 amateur Ingrid Lindblad was third. With other Irish in it as well, not just Beth. Anya Dunnigan was 42nd. Kate Lanigan was top 20. She came 19th with a final round of 71 for 4 over.
Your favourite golfer?
Look, I like them all. I support Irish golf no matter who it is. Anna Foster was playing as well, as was Rebecca Gardner, and they both unfortunately missed the cut. But plenty of travelling for the girls at the moment. Like plenty of golf on. They're just fresh off the teams and they're back on the plane again. Especially for Anya, she was just in Pebble Beach recently. She was back home and then she was off again. So it was a good showing from the girls out there as well.
No, perfect. No, I think, like, I don't know, do you have anything else to round up? I think that could be it.
I think that's pretty much it.
There's lots going on, but we were stretched this week. We had lots going on, but no. Another week of it this week again, like we're straight back into the thick of things, but heroes and villains. Hero and villain.
Villain has to be Sagana for the... No, oh, she a hero maybe for her retaliation. It's hard to know.
She's a villain.
She's a villain. I know, I suppose you have to stamp out slow play so you can go in the villain category for this week.
So who's your hero?
My hero is Harrington, just for that picture of him with the hat on, the teeth out, like it's textbook Harrington.
No, it was class. No, yeah, I would like it. It was good to watch Harrington. It's great. You just never tire of him being in the mix the whole time.
I feel like he has to be in it for you to watch these kind of events, though, because you just never know what he's going to bring up. He'll just suck you in.
Yeah. No, I'll agree. I have to say, Johnny Caldwell, I know you won't, it was not a popular opinion on site, like he didn't bring a lot of crowds with him. Everybody else, had a fair bit of support. And, I have to, it's nice to see Johnny Caldwell hitting a bit of form, getting back in, following up last week's performance with another one this week and sealing that Irish Open spot as well. You know, he's played in a few Irish Opens, like you said to you. I think he's played in 3 of them before. So no, I'm going to give it to him this week. Top Irish player at Headfort, and fair play to him. Hopefully he kicks on. That's a big opportunity for him because he's had a tough couple of years and he's starting to show signs of what we want on him. Villain.
Saganda.
You're Saganda,
yeah,
definitely.
I'm stick with it, yeah. And Jack Senior.
Yeah,
just for his antics. I know he's probably not listening to this, but for anyone who maybe was in Headfort, I mean, Jesus Christ. You wouldn't get it in your local monthly medal like the whinging he was doing.
Toys out of the cot.
Oh, toys completely out of the pram. Toss, the dummy thing was gone as well, out of the mouth, everything. The nappy was dirty, all sorts of crap going on. But just before we go, big week on the PGA Tour this week. Last weekend before the playoffs.
Yeah.
The Wyndham. Interesting enough, Ludwig Aberg, 146 in the FedEx Cup, so a good week, and he could make the playoffs. And people are tipping him for the Ryder Cup. Yeah. I mean, that would be huge. Luke Donald's playing as well, actually, which is interesting. And so is Shane Lowry to get a few points on the board. 76 in the FedEx Cup. So you'd be thinking a good week, push him towards that top 30 in that place in Eastlake.
Yeah.
And then we just mentioned Justin Thomas also in the field. But it's going to be interesting viewing on Sky Sports because it's just going to be non-stop. Watching fellas in 4 and 5 over on like the 126 and 125.
Bubble.
Watching the bubble more than you'll be watching the leaderboard. So
yeah. No, well, my villain for this week is Jay Monaghan. I'm just going to have to put it out there on that. So I see the PGA Tour come out during the week saying it won't back the modified local rule proposed by the governing bodies. So I just think this is absolutely off the wall, batshit crazy. Like they can't. Golf is divided enough, and then when you've the tour that these guys are on saying they're not going to go with the governing bodies, like the majors are the only thing saving golf this season. The PGA Tour have kind of been shown up for what they are, you know. It's not a nice place. This has the potential to really split golf further again, and yeah, they're being kicked around the place, the PGA Tour, in the last week, and again, rightfully so. Their own senators. I was reading stuff there the other day on like the PGA Tour, for people that don't understand, they have this 501c charity non-profit status, and it's for organisations primarily for the benefit of their members and with big charitable things and stuff like that. But there's one of the senators who heads up the state permanent subcommittee on investigations that's looking into this whole Live Golf PGA Tour merger. And a guy called Richard Blumenthal, who he wrote that the PGA's Tour's plan to continue as non-profit, like they're looking to continue this. It raises questions about, and this is what he quoted, said, whether a foreign government may indirectly benefit from provisions in US tax laws meant to promote non-for-profit business associations. So basically what he's saying is, if this merger goes ahead and the PGA Tour want to run with keeping their 501c status, that like PIF, as the Saudi investment fund, a foreign investment fund, would benefit from certain tax breaks been involved in that company on US territory, and they will not have any of that in the Senate. So this is going to get messy, like, and it goes even deeper again. Like, if they do lose that 501c status, then it could be a big blow to players' pension funds and how everything's structured. So there's a lot at stake. Like, the PGA Tour are in big trouble around this, by the looks of it. So this is something, like, this is the new, 6 months ago it was all Live Golf against PGA Tour. Now it's the PGA Tour against the US Senate, and what can happen in that. Like, there's a separate podcast in itself going into the details in this and going into the implications of different things and what these guys are going through. So it's not straightforward at all. There's a lot going on. So yeah, they would be my villains. PGA Tour headed by Jay Monahan this week are my absolute villains.
Poor Jay gets a bad rap, doesn't he?
Well, John Craven will be happy with that segment now. If he's listening in, John, he'll be happy with that. I'm fighting the fight. I'm trying to have a code.
Trying to win for the good guys.
But no, that's it for this week, I think. Good to be back as a 2-ball. We were at plenty of golf this week, so same again going forward. We actually have the Bonalac as well that we never mentioned. Alex Maguire's Bonalac coming up.
Yes, and Beth Coulter as well.
Yeah,
playing in the women's one as well. So that'll be good. Representing Europe.
And if you're looking for a knock this week, Friday we actually have the Irish Golfer Open Series goes to Moy Valley. We have a team event on in Moy Valley. So, it's a champagne scramble on there on Friday. There's still a couple of teams left. I think there might be an early team and something in the afternoon. So check out irishgolfer.ie for that and the events section on the website, and you'll see all the details. We're giving away a lot of prizes that day, so that'll be good. That's it, Ronan.
First pod without Johnner. No one died.
That's a wrap.
Didn't kill each other. We didn't lose ourselves.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was good, and cheers for tuning in to everyone. And we'll be back again next week with another roundup of what's going on. Cheers, bye.